All right. So for learning and communication standards, we have an activity titled it's felt board replay, and you could stick your book title in there. So we would do Five Little Monkeys felt board replay, and this is geared for 24 months to 36 months. What kid doesn't love to replay a book on felt board? And what adult doesn't love to play with felt board because it takes you back to Sunday school? So the Mississippi Early Learning Guideline standards for this um, helps the child attend to and respond to their understanding and communication of language from others. So children learn from their communication and learning and language from their experiences with others, and also um, they increasingly gather their language in conversation with others. So by just simply reading their book and letting them act along with it in return with the felt board, it's building their language and their communication standards. And also, kids that are dual language learners can implement, build more of their language in the new vocabulary that they have. If they're not familiar with your vocabulary, you can also help them follow along with the story if you have a recorded of their primary language. So the specific goal for this felt board replay story is to read the book and have them visually recall the story after the fact. So it builds their language, it builds their communication, it allows them to follow along and then replay what it is that they heard in the story by rebuilding it on the felt board. Vocabulary that would be introduced to them would be recalling, repeating, reenacting. So you read them their story at story time, and then you say, hey, let's put this back together. This person can be one monkey, this person can be two monkey, this person can be three monkey, and we're going to have you play it out on the felt board. So you would need your felt board attachments, and a story that would go along with that. And your attachments don't necessarily have to be exactly what the book is. You could build them, you could print them off, you could color them and add the felt to the back of it. It doesn't have to be extravagant. They will love it either way. This activity and description is a continual building of what the kids already know. So they already know, they already hear the language. They've probably already heard this book or the story, but it's sitting down reading it and then watching them react it is putting that language together into an action. So it's helping them to build and identify their words with pictures, colors with pictures, and learning to see and understand and counting of objects. So if you do the Five Little Monkeys, they know that you're going to be counting down from 5, and they're going to visually see you go from 5 little monkeys, 4 little monkeys, 3 little monkeys. So this activity allows the students to see and read a story and then ask questions and discuss the story. You read your story and you ask them what was next. 5 little monkeys were jumping on the bed. Well, what did the doctor say? And they're going to replay that back to you because that's what they've heard. That's a language that they've learned. That's a vocabulary that they've built. And visually watching them, 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One falls off and bumps his head and he's out of the picture. So they're creating that story in their head and being able to reuse it again on the board. So allowing to see if they're picking up where you are in the story. I would ask questions as far as who was the story about? Little monkeys. And what is it saying? Don't jump in the bed or you're going to get hurt and fall and break your head. You could also implement your rhymes in the story. 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. How many times do you see bed in the story? So you could count your words. If there's anything that they could pick out that rhymes, you could, you could implement those type of literacy skills into your story as well. During the story time, I'll read the book slowly, interact the kids throughout the book, explaining aspects of the story, pointing out the characters in the story. There's 5 monkeys here, there's 4 monkeys here. what they're doing in the book. They're playing, five little monkeys are playing in the tub. They're getting ready for bed. And then they all are excited and jumping on the bed. So, we'll point out who the doctor is, who the mama is, and go from there. So, by reading the book together and allowing them to hear the words and be able to process who each character is in the book, they're forming their own story, that they felt of the characters. Going back to the felt board, they're recalling the story of the felt board, and I'll encourage the students to be interactive in the felt board story. They can take turns putting the monkeys on, putting the monkeys off, bringing the doctor in. They could be a part of the story on the felt board as well. So that's forcing them or implementing for them to pay attention in the story and then recall it when we do it on the felt board. So this story, this felt board story, is interactive and relevant to the overall classroom planning because while you're reading the story, like I said, you're pointing out important parts of the story that will connect them to their lives at home. Mama says don't jump on the bed. Mama says you'll fall and we'll have to call the doctor. Important things like that they can see throughout the story that, you can connect to them at home. Has anyone in the class ever fell and bumped their head and have to go to the doctor? My son jumped in the bathtub and busted his head and had to get staples. So he can connect this story, no more jumping on the bed because he knows what's going to happen. Throughout the story, you can point out what color pajamas the monkeys are wearing, or how high the monkeys are jumping, or does mama look scared when the monkeys fall on the bed or fall off the bed? Does the doctor look mad because the mama keeps telling the monkeys not to jump on the bed? So it's tying all these points together, and they can connect it to words that they already know, languages that they already know. All these are still the same no matter how you verbally express it. It's developmentally appropriate because we're building a language. We're building actions that go to languages. We're allowing them to express that story again on the felt boards and be able to identify and recall what's in the lesson. So felt boards are fun, and felt boards are a great way to reveal the knowledge and practice of what's already been happening in class already.